Hello everyone, this side Manish Guliani. This video is useful for those students who are preparing for UGC NET management paper. In this video, I will cover the 5th unit of second paper, that is financial management. In this video, I will cover all the subtopics and main topics of this unit. One more thing, this topic is also useful. This video is also useful for those students like MBA, MCOM. We have corporate finance, financial management as a subject in their curriculum. So let's start with the syllabus of this unit. First topic is value and returns. In this topic, I'll cover time preference for money, valuation of bonds, shares, risk and return. Second topic is capital busting. In this topic, we will cover nature of investment, evaluation, comparison of methods. Third topic is risk and uncertainty analysis. In this topic, we will cover various type of risk, how to measure risk. So all these topic we will cover under this topic. Fourth topic is dividend policy. In this topic, we will cover meaning, theories and determination of dividend policy decision. Fifth topic is mergers and acquisition. Under this topic, we will cover various concepts related to management, buyout, management, layout, merger, acquisitions. All these concepts we will consider in this topic. Next topic is portfolio management. Under this, we will cover CAPM, capital asset pricing model, APT, arbitrage process theory, and third last topic is derivatives. In this topic, we will cover forward contract, future contract, swap, hedging, speculation. All this topic we will cover under this topic. Second last topic is working capital management. Under this, we will consider meaning, approaches, techniques of working capital management, factors affecting working capital, and last topic is international financial management and foreign exchange market. Let's start with the first topic. First topic is time preference of money, also known as time value of money. Both are same thing. Time value of money, time preference of money, it simply means present value of 1 rupee is more than the same value received after 1 year. इट मीन्स कि आज के 1 रुपये की वैल्यू मोर देन है अगर सेम रुपये आपको रिसीव होता है आफ्टर 1 ईयर. रीजन बीइंग ड्यू टू अनसर्टेनिटी, ड्यू टू रिस्क, ड्यू टू इन्फ्लेशन, ड्यू टू इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज, ड्यू टू प्रेफरेंस फॉर कंजप्शन. मीन्स present value of 1 rupee is more than the same value received after 1 year. So that's called time value of money. Under time value of money, we have to consider two terms, present value and future value. And these two terms I relate with the compounding and discounting. These are the another two terms we will study under time value of money. What is compounding, what is discounting? एज आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी की आज के 1 रुपये की वैल्यू मोर देन है अगर सेम वैल्यू रिसीव होती है आफ्टर 1 ईयर. सपोज आज का 1 रुपये और यू वांट टू नो द फ्यूचर वैल्यू ऑफ दैट 1 रुपये, देन यू यूज कंपाउंडिंग टेक्निक. क्लियर कि अगर आज के 1 रुपये है अगर मैं इसको आफ्टर 1 ईयर लेता हूँ तो कितना मिलेगा, देन यू यूज कंपाउंडिंग टेक्निक. एंड अगर सपोज फ्यूचर में जो 1 रुपये आपको मिलना है या सपोज 1.10 मिलना है ड्यू टू इंटरेस्ट. प्रेजेंटली अगर आप कहीं इन्वेस्ट करते हो 1 रुपये, डेफिनेटली यू विल अर्न सम इंटरेस्ट. तो 1 रुपये अगर आफ्टर 1 ईयर उस 1 रुपये की वैल्यू 1 रुपये 10 पैसा है तो प्रेजेंट में कितनी वैल्यू है, देन यू यूज डिस्काउंटिंग टेक्निक. 10 पैसा आप उसको डिस्काउंट में लेस कर दोगे. तो दीज आर दी टू टर्म्स दैट यू विल स्टडी अंडर टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी, कंपाउंडिंग एंड डिस्काउंटिंग. अगर प्रेजेंट से फ्यूचर में जाना है देन यूज कंपाउंडिंग, अगर फ्यूचर टू प्रेजेंट आना है देन यूज डिस्काउंटिंग. Clear? Let me explain with the help of example. Suppose present value is 100 rupees and 10% is your interest rate. Clear? So how to calculate present value? Through future value formula, FV equal to present value, bracket start 1 plus I equal to 1. Present value, that is your 100 rupees. I means rate of return, और इंटरेस्ट रेट यू कैन से डेट इज 10% मीन्स 0.10. एंड फर्स्ट ईयर की आप निकाल रहे हो 1 ईयर की, देन पावर 1. तो फ्यूचर वैल्यू कितनी होगी 110. डेट्स आपने किससे करा, कंपाउंडिंग टेक्निक से. नाउ नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज बॉन्ड वैल्यूएशन. नाउ व्हाट इज बॉन्ड? बॉन्ड ऑल्सो नोन एज डिवेंचर्स. Bond or debenture is a long-term debt instrument, or you can say long-term security. It is issued by business enterprises or government agencies to raise long-term capital. It's a source of raising long-term capital. So what's the difference between stock and bond? Stock simply means your equity, shares, and bonds also known as debenture. So what's the basic difference between stock and bond? Stock simply means an equity instrument carrying ownership interest, and bond simply means shareholders are the owners of your company, but bond holders are the creditor of your company. On share you have to pay dividend, on bond you have to pay interest. And one more thing, keep in mind, that's the difference between stock and bond. Whether company earn profit or loss, he has to pay interest to their debenture holders. But in case of share, if company earns profit, on that case a company has to pay dividend to their shareholders. Plus, all the shareholders have voting right, but all the credit holders or the debenture holders, they don't have any voting right. They can't check the company account books, but shareholder can check the company account book. They can participate in the company meeting, shareholders, but debentures holder, they can't participate in the company meeting. So that's the difference between stock and bond. Clear? Next, how to evaluate the bond value or debentures value? Formula is interest of 1 year divided by 1 plus R. R means your interest rate. First year, same. Second year, at the end, you will get interest plus maturity period. Suppose, let me explain with the help of example. Suppose 100 रुपीज़ आपके पास है और 10% इंटरेस्ट 10 रुपीज़, तो फर्स्ट ईयर इंटरेस्ट इज 10 रुपीज़, 1 + 0.10, और एट द एंड 10 रुपीज़ अगर आपको इंटरेस्ट मिलता है तो यू विल अर्न 110. प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट इज 100, इंटरेस्ट अमाउंट इज 10. तो एट द एंड ऑफ फॉर्मूला आपको इंटरेस्ट प्लस मेच्योरिटी दोनों चीज़ें ऐड करके दिखानी है. क्लियर? तो डेट्स द फॉर्मूला ऑफ बॉन्ड वैल्यूएशन. Next, share. I already told you, share simply means every company capital divided into small part. Each part is known as share. Share is the one of the units into which total capital is divided. The person who owns the share is called shareholder. And there are two types of share, mainly preference share and equity share. Now, methods of valuation of share, there are various methods. First is asset based valuation method. As per this method, how to calculate the value of share, how to interesting value of share. As per this method, firstly you have to calculate the total assets in your company, in your business, and then you have to calculate total liabilities. The formula of this method, as per this method, formula is assets minus liability divided by number of shares. So on the basis of this formula, you can find the value of your share, you can find the intrinsic value of share. So this method is also known as net asset method, intrinsic value method, balance sheet method. Reason being, under this method you have to consider total assets and total liability. So it is a difference between assets minus liability divided by number of shares. So it's a formula of this method. Second is profit based method. This method is also a yield method. As per this method, how to calculate the value of share? Under this method, you have to consider how much yield, how much return giving by your any one of share. So on the basis of that return you are getting from that share, on the basis of that return, on the basis of that yield, you can measure the value of share. So third one is asset and profit based method, also known as fair value method. As per name says, asset and profit based method, it is a composed of two words, asset and profit. Or if you consider little bit focus on your first two method, one is asset, second one is profit. So this method is the average of previous two method, means it is a sum total of asset plus profit divided by 2. So that's called fair value method. Ki as per this method, you consider your asset value method as well as profit value method, means you being so fair in your judgment, in your valuation of share. So that's why it's called fair value method. It is the average of first two method, in short word, in simple language you can say. And next method is market price approach method, also known as price earning multiple or book value method. And this method is also known as price earning method. It's a simple formula: price earning method, price divided by earning per share. Price per share divided by earning per share. By this formula, you can calculate the value of your share. Other method is discounting cash flow method. Under this method, you have to consider time value of money or plus return on capital employed. Under this method, you have to compare your actual return with the normal return, whatever return rate prevailing in a market. So compare your actual return with the normal return. So by this method, you can valuation the value of your shares. Clear? Next part. Risk and return analysis. Now, what is risk? Risk simply means, in financial term, risk means chance, also known as that an outcome or investment actual gain which differ from expected outcome or return. Means in simple language, it simply means difference between actual return and expected return. So that's your risk. There are two types of risk. One is systematic, second one is unsystematic. One thing keep in mind, systematic risk also known as beta in your financial term. When you calculate the value of your portfolio, then always use beta terms. You have so many times you heard beta. So beta simply means systematic risk. Now, what do you mean by systematic risk? Systematic risk means that is which is uncontrollable, macro in nature, कि applicable to all types of securities. कि this risk is uncontrollable. You can't control this risk. It's a universal, होना ही होना है. So that's called systematic risk. Unsystematic risk means controllable risk. Micro in nature means vary from company to company. Suppose if you investment in FD and investment in shares, so share are more risky than FD. FD is more secure. So that's called unsystematic, controllable risk. तो vary करता है. But systematic risk में हर किसी, इधर आप इन्वेस्ट कर लो शेयर्स, अगर आप ले लो आदित्य बिरला के शेयर, आप ले लो रिलायंस के शेयर्स, आप ले लो IBM के शेयर्स, आप ले लो HDFC के, तो हर किसी में रिस्क है ही है. यू कांट अवॉइड दैट रिस्क. तो दैट्स कॉल्ड सिस्टमेटिक रिस्क. और प्लस देयर इज ए वन फिगर बिटवीन रिस्क एंड रिटर्न ट्रेड ऑफ. सिंपल सी बात है, हाइयर द रिस्क हाइयर द रिटर्न. तो देयर इज ए पॉजिटिव रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन रिस्क एंड रिटर्न, कि जितना रिस्क ज़्यादा होगा रिटर्न उतना ज़्यादा होगा, जितना रिटर्न ज़्यादा होगा उतना ही रिस्क लेने को आप रेडी होगे. क्लियर? दैट्स स्लोप अपवर्ड. नाउ नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज कैपिटल बस्टिंग. कैपिटल बस्टिंग also known as long-term investment decision. Capital busting simply means decision regarding investment in long-term asset, not short-term assets. One thing keep in mind, decision regarding investment in short-term asset, that is your working capital decision, not capital busting decision. Capital busting decision also known as capital expenditure decision, long-term investment decision. So as per name says, decision regarding investment in long-term asset, ki whether we have to invest in particular assets or not. So that decision is known as capital busting decision. Clear? These are the features of capital busting decision. First is large investment. As I already told you, these decisions are related to long-term assets. So definitely you need more fund. So that's why it's called, you required large investment. Second, long-term investment. Reason being this decision is related to long-term period, more than 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year. Suppose you invested in steel plant. तो स्टील प्लांट एकदम से आपको पैसा करके नहीं देगा, इट टेक सम टाइम. तो दैट्स व्हाट्स कॉल्ड लॉन्ग टर्म डिसीजन. थर्ड फीचर इज इरिवर्सेबल डिसीजन, कि वंस यू इन्वेस्टेड इन मनी इन सम पर्टिकुलर एसेट, यू कांट रिवर्स बैक विदाउट बेयरिंग ए लॉस. कि अगर एक बार ही कहीं आपने इन्वेस्ट कर दिया तो उसके बाद अगर आप सोचो मैं उसमें से पैसा निकाल लूँ विदाउट बेयरिंग लॉस, यू कांट रिवर्स योर अमाउंट, यू कांट विदड्रॉ योर अमाउंट, यू हैव टू बियर सम अमाउंट ऑफ रिस्क. जैसे सपोज अगर लेट्स टेक एग्जांपल ऑफ एनी कार, आपने अभी रिसेंटली परचेज करी, शोरूम से बाहर निकलते उसकी वैल्यू टूट जाएगी, बिकॉज दैट इज कंसिडर्ड एज ए सेकेंड हैंड कार. तो दैट्स व्हाट इट्स कॉल्ड इरिवर्सेबल रिस्क, कि वंस यू इन्वेस्टेड यू कांट रिवर्स बैक विदाउट बेयरिंग ए लॉस, यू हैव टू leave some amount, you have to withdraw some amount. Next is most difficult to make. Reason being, as per the previous features, it is related to long term investment, require large amount, irreversible, plus its main feature is long term investment. more than 5 year, more than 10 year, more than 3 year, and future is uncertain. अभी आपने कहीं इन्वेस्ट करा, आपको इस चीज़ की डजेंट मेक गारंटी कि आपको फ्यूचर में वो रिटर्न देगा ही देगा. फ्यूचर इज अनसर्टेन. एज यू नो आवर बिजनेस इन्वायरमेंट इज ऑपरेट इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी. तो मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट टू मेक क्या है, फ्यूचर की प्रिडिक्शन आप लगा रहे हो कि प्रेजेंटली में हमें रिटर्न दे देगा फ्यूचर में, बट फ्यूचर अनसर्टेन है. उस समय हो सकता है सर्कमस्टेंसेस आपके फेवर में ना हो. तो उस समय ऑन दैट टाइम जो भी आप डिसीजन लोगे बहुत सोच समझ के लोगे. इट्स नॉट ए इजी डिसीजन. यू हैव टू टेक सम टाइम, यू हैव टू टेक सम रिसर्च. आफ्टर दैट यू invest your money in that particular fund. That's what's called most difficult to make, not easy to make. Clear? And these are the some techniques and methods of capital busting. Payback method, accounting rate of return method, net present value method, profitability interest or internal rate of return. All these methods I classify under two heads: traditional and modern. Traditional means non-discounting techniques. Definitely one question will come in UGC net. This method is comes under the discounting technique or non-discounting technique. So traditional means also known as non-discounting technique. Modern means discounting technique. There are two methods that come under the discounting non-discounting technique, that is payback method. Second one is average rate of return method. And modern method also known as discounting technique method. Under this technique mainly four methods come: net present value method, IRR method, modified internal rate of return method, and profitability index method. Now, what's the difference between discounting technique or non-discounting technique? What's the difference between traditional or modern technique? Under traditional technique, you don't consider time value of money. That is the first topic of this unit. टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी मीन्स आप फ्यूचर की प्रिडिक्शन लेके नहीं चल रहे कि फ्यूचर में कितनी वैल्यू होगी. बट अंडर मॉडर्न मेथड यू कंसिडर टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी, कि अगर आज का 1 रुपये है तो फ्यूचर में इसकी वैल्यू कितनी होगी, फ्यूचर में अगर मिलता है तो प्रेजेंट में कितनी वैल्यू होगी. तो अंडर डिस्काउंटिंग टेक्निक यू कंसिडर टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी, बट अंडर ट्रेडिशनल टेक्निक यू डोंट कंसिडर टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी. क्लियर? इन Next topic is risk and uncertainty analysis. This topic is related to capital busting decision. As I already told, capital busting decision means investment in long-term asset, and long-term asset means you will get return in future period, and future is uncertain. So there is an element of risk prevail in all types of investment. So risk or uncertainty. Uncertainty is a situation where a decision can lead to more than one possible outcome. Means there's a multiple possible outcome in case of uncertainty. And risk simply means difference between expected or actual return. So what's the difference between risk and uncertainty? Risk you can be quantified in a number, but uncertainty you can't quantify in number. Means quantified itself a number. So uncertainty you can't be quantified, but risk you can quantify. So that's the main difference between risk and uncertainty. You can measure your risk, but you can't measure uncertainty. So there are the various techniques by which you can measure the risk and uncertainty. These techniques can be classified under three heads. One is statistical, second one is conventional, third one is other technique. Under statistical techniques, probability, you already know what is probability, means possibility. It may be or may not be happen. Second one is standard deviation or variance. Third one is coefficient of variance. Coefficient of variation means simply means square of correlation. Second one is conventional technique. Under conventional technique, risk adjusted discount rate. This is totally based on your time value of money again. Under this you consider the risk plus your return discount rate, time value of money. On the basis of these two factors you measure your risk. Second one is certainty equivalent. Certainty equivalent simply means suppose एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं, अगर आप सपोज किसी से 10,000 रुपीज़ आपको लेने हैं, बट यू हैव लिटिल बिट डाउट ऑन दैट पर्सन कि ये फ्यूचर में मुझे 10,000 देगा या नहीं देगा, तो आपने एक सर्टेनिटी एलिमेंट ले लिया, तो 7,500 तो ही विल पे. तो डेट्स को सर्टेनिटी इक्विलेंट, कि ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सर्टेन अमाउंट जिस पे आप यू कैन से आई एम 100% श्योर दिस अमाउंट he will pay, he or she will be pay. So on the basis of that amount you measure your risk. तो डेट्स कॉल्ड सर्टेनिटी इक्विवेलेंट कि आउट ऑफ 10,000 7,500 आई एम श्योर ही और शी विल पे. So that's called certainty equivalent. Other techniques, sensitivity analysis. In OR, you already studied sensitivity analysis means measure or identify those area कि where you have to pay focus और उसके बेसिस पे अपनी कॉस्ट आप रिड्यूस कर सकते हो, रिस्क रिड्यूस कर सकते हो. दीज आर द की एरिया वेयर आई हैव टू पे अटेंशन. आई कांट इग्नोर दीज एरिया, दीज आर वेरी सेंसिटिव कि अगर मैंने इसको इग्नोर कर दिया तो माई रिस्क विल बी इंक्रीज. तो उस चीज़ को आप माइंड में लेके चलोगे. सेकेंड वन इज सिमुलेशन. सिमुलेशन सिंपली मीन्स टू इमिटेट कि एक्चुअल जो भी सिचुएशन है उसको प्रिडिक्शन लगा लो, आर्टिफिशियल स्ट्रक्चर में चेंज कर लो. लाइक वेस्टिब्यूल ट्रेनिंग मेथड इन HR यू हैव स्टडीड under training method off job on job. Vestibule training method means simply means all the real problem converted into artificial structure. और सारे एक्सपेरिमेंट उस पर करोगे तो एक्चुअल आएगा, देन इम्प्लीमेंट कर दोगे रियल लाइफ में. डिसीजन ट्री, एज यू नो अंडर डिसीजन ट्री यू हैव टू टेक डिसीजन. अंडर डिसीजन ट्री यू हैव टू टेक two thing, you have to decide two thing. One is decision node, second one is chance node. And scenario analysis. Next one is dividend. Now what is dividend? Dividend simply means that part of profit which is distributed by the company among their shareholders. कि प्रॉफिट का वो पार्ट जो कंपनी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करती है अपने शेयर होल्डर्स में, तो डेट्स कॉल्ड डिविडेंड. सो इट इज अ रिवॉर्ड ऑफ द शेयर होल्डर फॉर इन्वेस्टमेंट मेड बाय देम इन द शेयर ऑफ द कंपनी. क्लियर? So there are various factors. On the basis of these factors, you can take decision ki whether we have to give dividend to my shareholder or we have to retain dividend in my company as a retained earning. So dividend policy simply means that part of profit which is distributed. But dividend policy means decision regarding how much part of profit we should distribute it and how much should be retained in a business. So these two things you have to decide under dividend policy decision. So these are the factors that determine कि whether how much part we should distribute or how much should be retained in a business. So first is profitable position of the firm. If your firm profitability is good, you earn regular profit or frequently you earn profit, then more will be distributed. And if your profitability part is not good, your firm is in loss position, then you will retain more part of profit in your business. Second is uncertainty. If your income is stable, not fluctuating time to time, if your income is stable, then you have to distribute more and more dividend to your shareholders and vice versa. Legal constraint as per the condition of Company Act. You have to follow how much should be retained, how much should be distributed. Liquidity position, it is one of the major factors that you will consider while taking your dividend decision. If your liquidity position is good, then you have to distribute more, otherwise less. Source of finance, if company has easily arranged money from their sources, then more should be distributed. Growth rate of firm, if firm growth rate is very good, then more should be distributed. Tax policy is also affect our dividend policy decision. If government gives tax incentive, then company pays more dividend. Capital market condition, if boom is going in a market, if situation is favorable for your business, then more should be distributed. Then types of dividend theory. All dividend theories classified into two parts. One is relevant theories, second one is irrelevant theories. Relevant theories further classified under two heads: Warden model, Gordon model. Irrelevant theory classified under one head, that is MM approach, Miller-Modilani approach. Now what's the difference between relevant theories and irrelevant theories? Dividend policies theories explain the relation between valuation of firm and dividend policy decision. Means, is there any relationship between valuation of firm and dividend policy decision? Whether there is a direct relationship or indirect relationship between the dividend policy and valuation of firm. So first group, relevant theories. First group consists of those theories which consider dividend policy decision relevant for the valuation of firm. It means Valuation of firm totally depends upon the your dividend policy. And second theory, second group, approach. Second group consists of those theories which consider dividend policy decision irrelevant for the valuation of firm. It means valuation of firm depends upon the other factor rather than dividend policy decision. It depends upon the profitability of firm, goodwill of your firm, stability of earning, market condition. These all are the factor that affect the valuation of firm. Valuation of firm does not affect by the dividend policy decision. Clear? So next is corporate restructuring. As per the name suggests, it implies all activities which are related to expansion of your organization, expansion of your company, contraction of your company, any changes in assets or liabilities or any ownership structure in form of mergers, acquisition, takeover. So all these things come under the term of corporate restructuring. Simple example लें, suppose इन आवर हाउस टाइम टू टाइम अपने हाउस में अपने होम में आप कहीं ना कहीं चेंजेस करते हो इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सपेंशन कर दिया सिंगल स्टोरी थी डबल स्टोरी बना दिया या डबल स्टोरी थी सिंगल स्टोरी को आप उसको एक सिंपल मर्ज करके आप बना रहे हो या सिंपल ज्वाइंट फैमिली थी न्यूक्लियर फैमिली में आप हो गए तो उसकी बेसिस पे आपने डिवीजन किया अपने प्रॉपर्टी का तो डेट्स ऑल टर्म्स कम्स अंडर द कॉर्पोरेट रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग कि जो आप अपने घर में चेंजेस करते हो टाइम टू टाइम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी चेंज करती है. So that's called corporate restructuring. Then forms of corporate restructuring. First is merger. Merger simply means when two firms joins together. That's called merger simply. Acquisition, when one firm acquires another firm with a formal agreement, with a concern. That's called acquisition. Second one is takeover. Now what is takeover? When one firm acquires another firm. But now the question arises in your mind, then what's the difference between acquisition or takeover? Acquisition simply means when one firm acquires another firm with a formal agreement in a friendly way, you can say. So that's called acquisition. When acquisition is not friendly, when it's a forcefully, by using of power, one firm acquires another firm, so that's called takeover. Absence of concern, absence of friendly way. By using your power, you acquire one firm, that's called takeover. Then next one is demerger. Demerger simply means कि when firm produces more than one product, like any single firm, any one firm produce पेंसिल पेन इरेजर शार्पनर तो उसे सबके अलग अलग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बना दिए सबके स्ट्रक्चर सेपरेट बना दिए सबके डिपार्टमेंट सेपरेट बना दिए तो डेट्स कॉल्ड डीमर्जर. Second one is reverse merger. Reverse merger simply means when small firm acquires big firm, large firm. Most of the time क्या होता है इन रूटीन इन नेचुरल वे इन लेट मेन लैंग्वेज में अगर बोले तो हमेशा हम सुनते हैं एक बड़ी फर्म ने छोटी फर्म को एक्वायर करा बट बहुत रेयर होता है जब छोटी फर्म बड़ी फर्म को करती है. अगर छोटी बड़ी को करती है एक्वायर इट टर्म्स एज रिवर्स मर्जर कि when small firm acquires large firm तो that's called reverse merger. Management buyout, when your own management take over your company, purchase all the shares of your company, that's called management buyout. Management buy in, when other company management acquire your shares, so that's called management buy in. Leverage buyout, when you acquired any firm not using by your own fund, इनफैक्ट यूजिंग बाय बोरोड फंड बाहर से पैसा लेके आप एक्वायर कर रहे हो डेट्स कॉल्ड लिवरेज बाय आउट. क्लियर. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट. बिफोर डिस्कसिंग द मीनिंग ऑफ पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट फर्स्टली वी विल डिस्कस द मीनिंग ऑफ पोर्टफोलियो. व्हाट इज पोर्टफोलियो? पोर्टफोलियो सिंपली मीन्स कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज. हैव यू हर्ड वन टर्म, वन इट इज never put all eggs in your one basket. So portfolio management means manage your portfolio in such a way कि means diversification of your portfolio कि investor always maintains portfolio diversification to reduce risk without diluting the returns. So that's called portfolio management कि manage the portfolio. Never puts all egg in one basket. You have to make your portfolio strong. Means like suppose you have 50,000 rupees. Out of 50,000, 10% you invested in FDs, 10% you invested in real estate, 10% you invested in gold. तो एक का लॉस दूसरे के एक का प्रॉफिट दूसरे के लॉस को क्या कर देगा, ऑफसेट। कभी भी ऐसा नहीं होगा सारी चीजें लॉस में जा रही हो। तो डेट्स वाई वी हैव टू मेंटेन पोर्टफोलियो, और रिगार्डिंग दिस वी यूज अ टर्म पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट। Then the approaches of portfolio, there are mainly two approaches. One is traditional approach, second one is modern approach. Modern approach also known as Markowitz model approach. These two approach we will discuss in further slides. Next is portfolio evaluation, how to measure your portfolio. There are various methods, Sharpe, Tenier, Jensen, and one major thing you have to use in portfolio management, that is risk and return. Firstly, you have to measure the risk of your portfolio, then return of your portfolio, then you have to calculate the correlation value between risk or return of your portfolio. There are mainly two models in your syllabus of NET, that is CAPM and APT model. CAPM stands for Capital Asset Pricing Model. APT stands for Arbitrage Process Theory. CPM model is a model that describes the relationship between the expected return and risk of investing in your security. Means it is a single factor model. It considers only one risk, that is systematic risk, denoted by beta. So it's a single factor model which describes the relationship between your expected return and risk of whatever security, whatever fund you invested in that particular security. So formula of CAPM is RA equal to RF, means risk free return. There are many security that is totally free from risk, like government securities, FD, that's called risk free. Government bonds, that's called risk free return. Plus BA stands for beta, bracket start RM, market return minus risk free return. Second one is APT model. What's the difference between CAPM and APT model? I already told you CAPM only consider one single risk factor. कि as per assumption of CAPM, there's a one risk involved in all types of security, but in practical life, every security affected by various types of risk. So APT model is a multiple factor model. Consider whole set of beta values for each security. So as per this formula, start from risk-free return plus beta 1 plus portfolio return of first security. Same sequence beta 2 plus portfolio return of second security. तो so on चलता रहेगा. Next one is what are derivatives? Now derivatives are financial instruments whose values is derived from the value of another assets, or these assets are known as underlying assets. Means on the basis of underlying asset you decide the value of your asset, so that's called derivative. Like take example, suppose 100 kg of wheat I will sell to you in that particular date, in future date 100 rupees. कि 100 kg of wheat है, इस पर्टिकुलर डेट को आई विल सेल टू यू 100 रुपीज. अब नाउ द सिचुएशन इज डिपेंड अपॉन द फ्यूचर, ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर डेट क्या होता है. बट फ्यूचर में उस डेट पे आपकी प्राइस वैल्यू कैसे डिसाइड होगी, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ वीट, 100 kg ऑफ वीट. तो हियर वीट इज नोन एज अंडरलाइंग एसेट, कि ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ अंडरलाइंग एसेट यू डिसाइड द वैल्यू ऑफ योर एसेट. तो दैट्स कॉल्ड डेरिवेटिव्स. Clear? There are mainly four types of derivative: future, forwards, options and swap. Future and forwards almost there's the same. Now what is option? Means future and forward delivery in future deliveries. Option simply means same example, 100 kg wheat I will sell to near future after 1 year at ₹100. But under options आपने कंडीशन इंप्लीमेंट कर दी, अगर मुझे उस डेट पे सही लगेगा, इफ आई एम ओके विद दिस रेट आई विल सेल टू यू. अगर मुझे सही नहीं लगेगा आई वोंट सेल यू. वो आपने उसको पहले ही बता दिया. बट नाउ द क्वेश्चन अराइज इन योर माइंड, सामने वाली पार्टी क्यों वेट करेगी? वाई द बायर वुड वेट ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर डेट, कि आप आफ्टर 1 ईयर उसने वेट भी करा, आप दोगे नहीं दोगे. तो सेम डेट पे, प्रेजेंट डेट पे बायर क्या करेगा, सेलर क्या करेगा, उसको 500 रुपीज पहले ही दे देगा. सपोज कि 500 रुपीज ले ले मेरी तरफ से, रिवॉर्ड, टेक इट एज ए रिवॉर्ड और पेनल्टी. अगर मुझे उस दिन अच्छा लगा तो मैं तुझे दे दूंगा, अगर अच्छा नहीं लगा तो मैं तुझे नहीं दूंगा, बट 500 रुपीज़ तू रख ले, ताकि तेरा जो भी फ्यूचर का लॉस होगा, जो 1 ईयर तूने वेट करा वो लॉस आपका कवर हो जाएगा। तो डेट्स कॉल्ड ऑप्शन, कि ऑप्शन सेलर के पास है बट उसने पहले ही पेनल्टी अमाउंट पे कर दी बायर को वेट करने के लिए। क्लियर? नाउ स्वैप। स्वैप सिंपली मीन्स अंडर दिस ऑप्शन आप स्वैपिंग करते हैं तो फिक्स एंड फ्लेक्सिबल एक्सचेंज रेट। यू नो द मीनिंग ऑफ फिक्स्ड एंड फ्लेक्सिबल एक्सचेंज रेट। फिक्स एक्सचेंज रेट मीन्स विच इज फिक्स बाय द गवर्नमेंट, जो हमारी पहले करते हैं, बट नाउ डेट इज नॉट प्रिवेल इन द मार्केट। और फिक्स क्या होती है? ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ डिमांड एंड सप्लाई ऑफ करेंसी, जो आपकी डेट डिसाइड होती है, तो डेट इज फ्लेक्सिबल। तो स्वैप में क्या होता है? आप चेंजेस करते हैं, तो फिक्स को फ्लेक्सिबल से, फ्लेक्सिबल को फिक्स से। क्लियर? नेक्स्ट, अंडर derivatives we use mainly two terms, hedging and speculation. Hedging simply means protection against fluctuation. Hedging simply means protection आपको मिल गई अगेंस्ट फ्लक्चुएशन। कि सेम एग्जांपल आप गोल्ड वाले का लेते हो। सपोज इफ यू गो टू योर गोल्ड ज्वेलर, आप जाते हो उनके पास कोई भी चीज़ लेने के लिए, अगर कोई चीज़ पसंद आती है तो हमेशा ज्वेलर आपको दो ऑप्शन देता है, इधर बाय इट नाउ, अदरवाइज यू विल पिक दिस प्रोडक्ट इन पर्टिकुलर डेट ऑफ नियर फ्यूचर। बट वो ऑप्शन बताता है आज की डेट में जो गोल्ड का प्राइस है आप उसी में ले लो, या फ्यूचर में जो होगा फिर आप वो पेमेंट कर देना। बट बंदा मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम लेमैन, फैमिली मैन, वो प्रेफर क्या करता है? सर आज का डेट जो है ना वहीं फिक्स कर दो। तो डेट्स कॉल्ड हैजिंग, कि आप फ्यूचर में जो भी फ्लक्चुएशन होगी डजेंट मैटर, उसने तो पहले ही फिक्स कर लिया। तो डेट्स कॉल्ड हैजिंग, कि प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट फ्लक्चुएशन इन करेंसी वैल्यू जो भी होगी। और स्पेकुलेटर क्या होते हैं? जो आपका बेनिफिट उठाते हैं, उनको लग रहा है आज हमारा डॉलर अगर डाउन जा रहा है तो मैं आज परचेज कर लूँ, नियर फ्यूचर इट प्राइस विल राइज। तो उसको माइंड में रख के वो प्रॉफिट कमाने के चक्कर में वो स्पेकुलेशन है आपका, कि जो फ्यूचर का प्रॉफिट लेने के चक्कर में कि आज वैल्यू डाउन है तो आज परचेज कर लो। तो डेट्स कॉल्ड स्पेकुलेशन। अंडर स्पेकुलेशन देयर इज ओनली ऑलवेज इन्वॉल्व एलिमेंट ऑफ रिस्क, बट अंडर हैजिंग रिस्क आपका इन्वॉल्व नहीं होगा, आपको प्रोटेक्शन मिल चुकी है अंगेंस्ट रिस्क, अंगेंस्ट फ्लक्चुएशन। क्लियर? नेक्स्ट वन इज वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट। बिफोर डिस्कसिंग द मीनिंग ऑफ वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट, फर्स्टली वी विल डिस्कस वर्किंग कैपिटल। एज पर नेम सेड, व्हाट इज वर्किंग कैपिटल? वर्किंग कैपिटल simply means it is a difference between current assets and current liability. That's called working capital. But what is working capital? As per name suggests, if I translate in Hindi, चालू कैपिटल, चालू पूंजी। वर्किंग कैपिटल सिंपली मीन्स डेट कैपिटल विच यू हैव टू रिटेन इन योर बिजनेस फॉर डे टू डे बिजनेस एक्सपेंसेस। कि वो कैपिटल जो अपने बिजनेस में आप रिटेन करके रखते हो किसके लिए? फॉर डे टू डे बिजनेस एक्सपेंसेस। सपोज पेमेंट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल, पेमेंट ऑफ कार्टेज, पेमेंट ऑफ फ्रेट चार्जेस, पेमेंट ऑफ स्टेशनरी चार्जेस, पेमेंट ऑफ रिफ्रेशमेंट, सम अमाउंट यू हैव टू रिटेन इन योर बिजनेस फॉर ऑल टाइम। तो डेट्स कॉल्ड वर्किंग कैपिटल। Means debt capital which you have to retain for short term obligation, for payment of short term obligation. So that's called working capital. So it is a difference between current assets and current liability. So there are mainly two concepts of working capital. One is gross concept, second one is net concept. As per the gross concept, working capital means total of current assets. That's called working capital. It does not include current liabilities. बस एज पर नेट कॉन्सेप्ट, दैट्स द रियल मीनिंग ऑफ वर्किंग कैपिटल, डिफरेंस बिटवीन करंट एसेट्स एंड करंट लाइबिलिटी। तो दैट्स कॉल्ड द मीनिंग ऑफ वर्किंग कैपिटल एज पर नेट कॉन्सेप्ट, कि मीन्स इट इज अ एक्सेस ऑफ करंट एसेट्स ओवर करंट लाइबिलिटीज। तो दैट्स द मीनिंग ऑफ वर्किंग कैपिटल। Let me explain with the help of example. A hair salon with assets of 1,60,000 and liabilities of 65,000. So as per the net concept, working capital is the difference between current assets or current liability. In other words, it is the excess of current assets over current liability. The current assets minus current liability, working capital is 95,000. So now I use two words, current assets, current liability. Now the question arises, what is current asset, what is current liability? So current assets are those assets which can be converted into cash within 1 year. कि जो within 1 year or less than 1 year में you can convert it into cash, like debtors, like inventories, receivables, stock, bill receivable, prepaid expenses, accrued income. So that's all comes under the current assets. Current liability means those liability which can be paid within 1 year to outside party. These are called short term liabilities, like overdraft, bank overdraft, creditors, outstanding expenses. Clear, short term loans whose majority period is less than 1 year, advance income, unearned income, you can say. So that's called current liabilities. Now, what is working capital management? Working capital simply means working capital management of working capital means it is a process of managing current assets or current liability in such a manner to maintain short-term liquidity of your firm. That's the main purpose of working capital. You have to maintain your short-term liquidity of firm to maintain the optimum level of your working capital, neither excess nor shortage. So that's the meaning of working capital management, to manage the current assets and current liability in such a manner to ensure the optimum level or ensure the short-term liquidity of your firm. There are mainly three components of working capital. One is cash, second one is inventory, third one is receivables. Cash simply means cash in hand as well as all those securities which can be converted into cash very easily. That also comes under the meaning of cash. Inventory simply means stock, means it is a sum total of raw material, work in progress and finished goods. Receivable simply means it is your debtors and BR. These are raised due to credit sale. So there are various techniques for maintaining working capital management, like EOQ, economic order quantity. In economic order quantity, it's a technique of inventory management, or inventory is a part of working capital management. I explained the whole term of EOQ in separate video. Kindly watch it, that video, if you have not watched. JIT, just in time method, is also a technique of inventory management. Miller or Baumol model, factoring, see, all are the techniques of working capital management. I will explain in further slides. Then approaches or policies of working capital. There are mainly three approaches: hedging, conservative, aggressive approach. There are mainly three approaches. Now, first approach, hedging approach. Hedging approach, also known as matching approach. Now, what do you mean by this approach? According to this approach, the expected life of asset will be matched with the expected life of the source of fund raised to finance such asset. कि means as per this approach, जो भी एसेट आपको फाइनेंस करनी है उसकी एक्सपेक्टेड लाइफ आप देखते हो और उसको मैच करते हो, उस एसेट को परचेज करने के लिए कौन सा फंड आपको चूज करना है. सपोज अगर इफ स्टॉक इज टू बी सोल्ड इन 30 डेज, आपका कोई स्टॉक है वो 30 डेज में सेल होता है, देन डेफिनेटली यू विल प्रेफर शॉर्ट टर्म लोन्स फॉर 30 डेज कि जैसे स्टॉक के पैसे आएंगे मैं लोन के पैसे पे कर दूंगा, अदरवाइज अननेसेसरी आपको इंटरेस्ट पे करना पड़ेगा. तो मैचिंग अप्रोच में आप क्या करते हो, एसेट की लाइफ के अकॉर्डिंग अपना सोर्स ऑफ फाइनेंस आप चूज करते हो टू फाइनेंस दैट एसेट. क्लियर. कंजर्वेटिव अप्रोच, अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस अप्रोच all the financial needs of firm are financed from long term funds. Conservative approach means you are not risk taker, you are risk avoider. तो whatever asset you want to purchase, उस एसेट को आप फाइनेंसिंग सोर्स क्या चूज करोगे, लॉन्ग टर्म सोर्सेज. इट डजेंट मैटर कि वो एसेट आपको शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए चाहिए या लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए, बट डेफिनेटली यू अरेंज मनी फ्रॉम द लॉन्ग टर्म सोर्सेज. शॉर्ट टर्म सोर्सेज आर यूज बट ओनली इन इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन, अदरवाइज यू ऑलवेज यूज लॉन्ग टर्म सोर्सेज इन दिस अप्रोच. अग्रेसिव अप्रोच सिंपली मीन्स it maintain a balance between hedging approach or conservative approach. It strike a balance between matching or conservative approach, means provides a financial plan that's lie between these two approaches. Clear. That's called aggressive approach. Last topic of this unit, meaning of international financial management. As you know the meaning of financial management simply means to manage the finance. If you know the meaning of financial management, corporate finance, कि just consider three aspects. Firstly, identify the sources of finance. Then second step, how much finance you need. And third step, effective utilization of that finance. So financial management not only identify the sources of finance, but effective utilization of also consider. But now What's the meaning of international financial management? International financial management simply means manage the finance on a global scale, on a international level. So main purpose, main objective of managing the international finance to maximize shareholder wealth, to maximize the wealth of shareholder. So under international financial management, you have to identify the working capital management. You have to maintain the working capital on as per the situation of international level, as per the situation of global level. To have to take your capital busting decision on a global level. So that's called international financial management. Now, what is international capital market? It classified under two head: international bond market, international equity market. I already explained the meaning of bond. Bonds are debenture holders and equities are shareholder. And international bond further classified under two heads: foreign bonds, euro bonds. International equity market also classified under two head: foreign equity, euro bonds. In further slides, I will explain all these terms. Next is foreign exchange market. Now, what is foreign exchange market? Before discussing the meaning of foreign exchange market, it implies two things: foreign currency and exchange rate. Now, what do you mean by foreign currency? Foreign currency simply means deals in foreign currency like euro, dollar, yen. Or foreign exchange rate simply means that rate in which the foreign exchange rate is that exchange rate in which the price of one currency in terms of another currency. Suppose अगर मैं बात करूं $1 आज 60 रुपीज़ का है, 70 रुपीज़ का, तो डेट्स कॉल एक्सचेंज रेट. फॉर ऑप्टेनिंग $1 यू हैव टू पे 70 रुपीज़, तो डेट्स द एक्सचेंज रेट. क्लियर? तो एक्सचेंज रेट सिंपली मीन्स जहाँ पे एक करेंसी दूसरी करेंसी में जिस रेट पे चेंज होती है. तो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट व्हेन डीलिंग इन फॉरेन करेंसी, डेट प्लेस इज नोन एज फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट. नाउ types of foreign exchange market, there are mainly two market. One is spot market, second one is forward market. Spot market and forward market. Spot market always deals in daily nature transaction कि on the spot, so that's called spot market. कि under this whatever exchange rate you determine on the spot, but or always deals in daily nature transaction. And what is forward market? Under this same, just like in spot market, under forward market you also determine the exchange rate on the spot, but it always deals in future deliveries. It never deals in daily nature transactions. Spot market always deals in daily nature transaction, forward market always deals in future deliveries. So that's the basic difference between spot market and forward market. And what's the function of foreign exchange market? There are mainly three functions. One is transfer function. Whenever you have to change your currency, means you want to change your rupees into dollar, dollar into rupees, so that function performed in a foreign exchange market. Second is hedging function. Hedging I already explained, protection against fluctuation, प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट रिस्क, तो वो फंक्शन भी परफॉर्म करता है. थर्ड वन इज क्रेडिट फंक्शन. क्रेडिट फंक्शन सिंपली मीन्स the foreign exchange market also provide credit to both international level or national level to promote foreign trade. So that's the main three function that performed in foreign exchange market. So this is all about your fifth unit of financial management. So watch this video carefully, clear all the concept. In my next video I will cover all the multiple choice questions of this unit. If you have any problem, keep your mention your query in the comment box. Definitely I will reply. I would like to reply to your queries. Thank you so much. All the very best for UGC next exam. Thank you. Happy learning.